No. She went to for a couple
Oh, what year?
85, big board with us. She teaches here.
Oh, okay.
She's a
Now an introduction of Sherry Sampson and Every Single One. Sherry Sampson is an interdisciplinary artist and a professor of art in the School of Visual Studies at the University of Missouri. The performance depicts Sherry's personal experience as well as familial and community stories with hereditary cancer while exploring topics of genetics, integrative oncology, and healing from the patient's perspectives of modern medicine. It interweaves three levels of testimony: Sherry's, her sisters, and those with hereditary cancer survivors and pre-vivors whose stories were conveyed to her in a series of interviews. Pre-vivors are people who take prophylactic measures to prevent cancer when they have a known genetic risk. Sherry began documenting her cancer experience in audiovisual materials from the date of her diagnosis in February of 2017. The documentation is interwoven throughout the performance, contributing to the media environment of the performance that, along with other video and soundscapes, original music by commissioned musicians, spoken word, and movement, is integral to the storytelling. Every Single One draws from ethnographic research, lived experience, field notes, and scientific data to create a dramatic interpretation that is both deeply personal and universal. It provides Sherry with a means to process the life-altering ordeal in which to, in the words of Black feminist poet Audre Lorde, examine it, put it into perspective, share it, and make use of it. In this time in which mis- and disinformation, particularly regarding science, is rampant, Sherry would like to point out that you will hear moments in the performance where there is some questioning of conventional medicine and its practices and patient experiences that are not always aligned with standard recommendations. This is not in any way to question the comprehensive values of the sciences, but to portray the profoundly challenging risk versus benefits decisions patients must face when grappling with a life-threatening illness, particularly those dealing with recurrent and/or later stage cancers. Perhaps sharing these stories is a call for even better medicine science and also more research into integrative approaches that helps patients undergo treatments to manage their illness as a whole person: body, mind, psyche, and spirit. Immediately following the performance, there will be an opportunity to complete a survey about your response for the performance. This is a research project that Sherry, assisted by Truman State sociology professor Candace Grossman, is conducting to observe changes in attitude, empathy, understanding, and knowledge in audiences after seeing Every Single One. Sherry and Candace invite your participation, which is optional. To participate, you must be 18 years of age or older and have seen the entirety of the show. The survey can be accessed electronically through a QR code that will appear projected after the show. It can also be accessed through a QR code that will be handed out printed on a card after the show, along with a paper survey if you prefer to participate in that way. It takes about 10 minutes. There is no financial compensation for participating. After the surveys are done, there will be a brief Q&A session with Sherry that you are invited to stay for, if you wish. At this time, please turn off your cell phones. We also ask that you not shoot photographs or videos. There may be some triggering segments of the performance, including but not limited to emotional intensity of patient experiences, images of undergoing chemotherapy, but no needles are visible, and a few minutes of flashing imagery. The show runs a total of 98 minutes with a 10-minute intermission. Thank you very much.
story starts with my grandmother and her sisters, and my sister.
My mom and I could be sisters. I look like my mom, I act like my mom, I talk like my mom.
My story starts with my mom and two maternal cousins.
Mine, with countless members of my family, because there were so many, we were contacted by NIH years ago to be part of a screening study. I didn't participate then, but my father did.
Throughout my life, every time I went to a doctor, I don't remember ever filling out any paperwork asking about my dad's side of the family.
At the time, we really didn't know a whole lot, and they told my parents, well, you know, it's on your father's side, so you really don't have to worry about that.
In my life, uncertainty is the only thing that is certain.
My story followed the story of my sister, Press.
It's just your rib bone. That lump. It's just part of your rib. That's all. The lump is just part of your rib. She said it's just part of your rib. That lump. Great news. She said the lump was just part of my rib. The lump? She said the lump is just part of my rib bone. The lump is just part of my rib. Never found it. The lump is just part of my rib.
I'm so relieved. She said there's nothing to worry about.
The 3D mammogram never saw it. Feel the bone on either side. The lump is just part of the lump.
I'm not so sure.
It's been 3 months since the nurse said that this lump was part of my rib. They said to come back if it changed. Oh my God. Hello? Got cut off. Hello? Now I'm back to music. Great. Yes. Thank you. Yes, I can hear you perfectly. Yes. Yes. Yes, of course. Mm-hmm. So it's called what again? Infiltrating, what is it? What is it? What is it? What is it? What is it?
My mother had breast cancer at the age of 55. The doctors always said, "Oh, your mother was past menopause when she had breast cancer. If it was hereditary, she would have gotten it much younger." I was diagnosed with stage 4 ovarian cancer in 2017. I was 66.
My sister was a doctor. She found out about her hereditary risk and planned to get her ovaries removed. Did an ultrasound, and they found a 9-centimeter tumor. She had no symptoms at that point. That silent killer.
Blessed? Maybe. Lucky? Lucky that my cancer showed up in the breast and that I caught it.
Well, a few years later, I was diagnosed with triple-negative breast cancer.
I work in genomics, so I know better than this. But since my mom and I are so much alike, and she had breast cancer.
I started getting symptomatic right after Trump was inaugurated. In my mind, it seemed to be connected.
My first breast cancer diagnosis seemingly came out of nowhere in 2007.
My big fear is that, even though it doesn't show up in the lymph nodes, that it somehow jumped the lymph nodes and it's all over my body, and I've had symptoms with, a lot of kind of upper back, and especially on the left side, pretty prominent. So I just have this incredible fear that it's spread. And at what point would we order additional testing to just make sure that it didn't jump the lymph nodes and it doesn't spread to other parts of the body, and bypass the lymph nodes so it's not showing up there?
I have some unfortunate news. I also have breast cancer. Yeah. sitting down?
No, why?
Maybe you should sit down.
Yeah?
I also have breast cancer.
You what?
I also have breast cancer.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Oh, God. When did you find that out?
Yesterday. February 13th. I had 2 productive calls. One was with a healer who helped me understand that I have a choice between love and fear. If I choose fear, it'll be debilitating, but it's not always easy to choose love. The other call was with the nurse navigator who explained what to expect in the next 2 weeks.
I can't believe you and I are having this conversation.
I can't either. You were always the one dealing with cancer, Chris, not me. And then with that second diagnosis in your opposite breast, after you were in remission for 9 years, appearing just a few months before I was diagnosed. That tumor was probably growing in me at the same time, and I didn't even know it.
It's difficult to move my mind away from metastasis, surgeries, months of chemo. I like to visualize sitting in the surgeon's office after the MRI next Saturday, and she looks at the pictures and says, "We don't see the mass anymore." Day 6, post-diagnosis. After a session with the healer, it felt like I could distinguish the open space between the outer layers of flesh and muscle and the armature of my spine upon which flesh and muscle are attached. I don't even feel diseased.
Every day, I make some progress. Toward what? I'm not sure. Setting up pieces of a puzzle that will structure the next several days, weeks, months, years of my life.
It's February 18. I'm in my car in the hospital parking lot, looking out to another parking lot. Just finished the MRI. The long-term effects of the gadolinium contrast, unknown. When the tech started the contrast, a cold, surreal sensation wriggled through my veins. The sounds were eerie and fascinating. At times, Cagean, like a single piano key pounded in rapid succession. The tech said something about my protons moving in one polar direction and then the other, and then somehow something brings them back together. Day 9. They called to say they got great pictures. I hope great pictures means good images, but cancer nowhere else. I've been avoiding looking up triple-negative breast cancer because I know it tends to have the shortest prognosis. It's often defined as deadly, mysterious. Nobody seems to know what causes it. And 70% aggressive. What the hell does that mean?
I wonder how many sister pairs close in age both get triple-negative breast cancer. It seems it's one of those cancers that indicate exposure to something, environment, or...
Triple negative. Wow. Both of us.
Yeah.
Our bodies have become sites for organs and eyes.
So what we have is an answer. We found a mutation in the BRCA1 gene. It's why this diagnosis happened for you.
But I did all the right things. No smoking, no hormone replacement therapy, thought to be risky by some doctors. Plenty of healthy organic food, lots of exercise. I even nursed for 2 years. So, is it the same for my sister Chris?
Probably.
I did the test during my first diagnosis, for both of our sakes, so we would know if we had a cancer risk. It came back negative.
That test was an older one that didn't look for your particular mutation, which is a deletion in the code of the BRCA1 tumor suppressor gene. Even though the testing improved in 2007, around the time Chris tested, most insurance companies were not paying for that new technology.
Oh my God, I'd better retest then.
Yes, everyone inherits one copy of the BRCA gene from the mother and one from the dad. When both copies are working, it can protect us from cancer because it repairs acquired DNA damage when it happens. But if someone inherits a mutation in this gene from one parent, they will only have one working copy of the gene in every cell.
So then that must mean, at some point in our lives, something must have damaged the DNA in the working copy of the BRCA gene in just one breast cell. A cell in your right breast the first time, Chris.
Yours on the left. Hopefully the only time.
And one cell becomes 2 and 4 and 8 and so on. It's always that doubling process.
Siddhartha Mukherjee wrote, genotype plus environment plus triggers plus chance equals phenotype. What was the cataclysmic event that corrupted our BRCA genes? Was it that large amount of radiation you got all over your torso when you were treated for that tumor on your spine when you were only 25, Chris?
Sherry, was it your exposure to all the chemicals in the agricultural fields you live so close to in the Midwest?
Yeah, with names like bullet, arsenal, chopper, dagger, prowl, shotgun, lasso, firestorm, burn down, Roundup. This result is indicative of a predisposition for early onset breast, ovarian, and other cancers. Lifetime risks are estimated to be 55 to 87% for female breast cancer and 39 to 59% for ovarian cancer. Researchers found that women who harbor the BRCA1 mutation have an increased risk for contralateral breast cancer, up to 63% over 25 years from initial diagnosis. Oh, what does contralateral mean? Oh, right. It shows up in the other breast.
My story began with my mother, from whom I inherited the BRCA2 mutation. I was 29 when I found out. Given the fact that my mom had breast cancer when she was 28, and it was also triple negative, it was recommended that I have a prophylactic double mastectomy.
I didn't know much about BRCA, only heard about it, like a lot of people, from Angelina Jolie or Christina Applegate.
Some people didn't understand why I wanted a genetic test. They didn't see their aunt die in her 40s after struggling with cancer for 12 years. If I tested positive, I would get the prophylactic mastectomy, and I don't mean it like just. I knew it could save my life.
My preventive mastectomy was much more jarring than the hysterectomy. I didn't even have cancer, and I went through 5 surgeries. My background is 97% Ashkenazi Jewish.
When I was 29, I decided to join the NIH study because I thought it would be helpful for people. Then I learned about Mary Claire King, who identified the BRCA mutation in 1994 when I attended a conference. I was fascinated. I cried. When they showed the picture of her with the binders filled with her research, I thought, my family is in there.
Somehow, I got it incorrect in my mind that the gene mutations among Ashkenazi Jews were the cause of all BRCA-related cancers in the world, because 1 in 40 of us carry the BRCA mutation. I thought, my ancestors are responsible for all of this? My family's heritage is from a long line of Talmudic scholars. I'm not a very observant Jew, but I still felt a sense of pride in that. I was trying to reconcile that the mutation was also a part of my heritage.
I got the message, called the doctor back, and just like in your video clip, Sherry, are you somewhere we can talk? Are you surrounded by family and people who care about you? And with the same diagnosis, you have invasive ductal carcinoma.
My much more short-term and direct concerns would be involved with, passing the gene on than my own health. By the time I need to start thinking about doing breast exams or worrying about it for myself, that'll be most likely after the time that I would have had kids. So for me, the most significant thing by far is the ethical dilemma of having kids, knowing that I have a 50% chance of passing that mutation on, and especially if that child was a girl. It's different for you and me because you discovered it during your lifetime and when I was an adult.
And Taryn, BRCA was entirely unknown by Grandma and Grandpa's generation when Chris and I were growing up. When I saw Dad lying there, skin over bone, in the hospital bed the morning I arrived, I knew he was dying.
CT, ultrasound, MRI, they never even found a mass, just lots of gallstones. Still, the doctor said it was bile duct cancer.
2 weeks before I left to go home, Dad and I talked on the phone. Oh my God, he was on a rant. It started with pre-existing conditions, health insurance, and people are taking advantage and only buying health insurance through the market when they get sick. Then it mutated into our mutation. He was saying convoluted things like, you're blaming the man, always the man's fault.
Dad, it's not your fault.
Where would such an idea come from? To think I was blaming him in the first place, or at all. I started crafting a letter in my mind, Dad, that I was never able to give you.
Probably all the banter on talk radio, fear, blame, the angry retaliation of the victimized white man under siege, embattled on multiple fronts, us versus them.
Still, we held your hand, turned you, cleaned the roof of your mouth with that pink sponge on a stick like a lollipop that you kept saying was a different color, and took turns to drain the bile fluid bag several times a day.
And suction out the phlegm in your mouth that kept coming up, for which the doctors could not give a reliable explanation. In the last 48 hours, the moistened tiny sponge was your only source of water. And a tangerine popsicle, the last thing you ever ate.
Not father versus daughters.
Father begets daughters, whom he loves.
Who love him, regardless of the trench between our views, pushed wider apart by the sparring ideologies of a nation divided. Instead, we sang for you, out of tune, along with Buddy Holly on YouTube.
Faster than a roller coaster. And played nocturnes, Opus 9 in E-flat major, Chopin, who probably influenced your compositions more than any other composer, and always chasing rainbows.
Hail Mary and Our Father, full of grace, and as we forgive those.
When we thought you could hear, but no longer spoke.
Father begets daughter.
Daughter gets blue eyes, skipped heartbeats, and a good sense of rhythm. She also inherits a large deletion in the BRCA1 tumor suppressor gene.
Father begets second daughter 20 months later. Blue eyes, good at numbers, financial matters, and attention to detail. Same deletion. First breast cancer diagnosis at the age of 42.
Me, 53.
Dear Dad,
We want you to know that we never have nor ever would blame you for passing the BRCA mutation to us. No one is to blame. Mom tested and it came back negative, so we know it came from your side of the family. And this mutation, it doesn't skip a generation. There was a 50-50 possibility that Chris and or I could have inherited it at birth, like your brother, whose 2 daughters.
One got breast cancer when she was only 36.
Well, it seems her sister may not have the mutation at all.
It's just science.
Oh, some people think, and even some doctors still think and tell their patients that it can only be passed on by the mother.
As if a woman inherits breast cancer from her mother because her mother's a woman too.
Everyone has this gene, Dad. BR stands for breast, and CA for cancer. Though the gene itself doesn't cause cancer. It's when the good copy we got from Mom stopped working for whatever trigger or exposures that the cancer started, because then there were 2 dysfunctional copies.
Mutations are changes in the DNA sequence. Some changes have minor effects and traits, while others carry disease risk.
Think of a normal DNA sequence, like a coherent sentence with consecutive letters.
Different kinds of mutations can cause that sentence to become senseless.
There are nonsense mutations, and still other types are called missense, when letters in the genetic code just get switched out. Then there are the frameshift mutations that may either cause insertions or deletions of code in the sequence. Our family's mutation is a deletion.
I like to imagine him appreciating the letter. He had a mathematical mind. Music is like code.
Me too. All those cards and letters we found in his drawer when we were clearing out the house after he passed. He kept birthday cards I made for him when we were kids. Now, I have them again. Goodbye, Dad.
Goodbye.
You're buried next to your brother.
Who passed just 6 months before you did, alone in a nursing home during COVID, but not from it. We were fortunate we could bring you home to hospice.
We were on opposite sides of the bed.
And took turns turning you until the last turn shifted your breath.
To fewer and far, then none between. A few days after the funeral, Dad's girlfriend told me that one evening about a year before he passed, she held him while he wept. He felt so terrible about his daughters getting cancer that he worried he had something to do with it. He even wondered if he should have had children at all.
Dad, it's not your fault. We know how important it is to have the knowledge we have now. That was not known when we were born. To make informed choices about
Health,
disease prevention,
procreation,
with or without cancer, we are grateful to be alive.
This will start in a few minutes here. I just really it'll start turning over a normal hour for you. I'll check back with you for a little bit while I full bottle without checking it. So the next one is the EVERY.SINGLE.ONE or the doxycycline. That's the two names for it.
Yeah, that's the one that, everyone's really not talking about.
Yeah. So just kind of keep an eye on that. What really happens with this one is like long-term doxycycline, like it can change the rejection fraction. That's why, especially with your regimen, which contains a vesicant chemotherapy, which a vesicant chemotherapy is, you get a warm blanket to wrap around it, skin and things like that. We make sure that we have one of these kind of lines that are more firm.
Do only what is needed, nothing more, nothing less. Do only what is needed, nothing more, nothing less. Do only.
That is one of the things I struggle with, Marian. How do I reconcile this? The tumor is a part of my own body. my own cells. Are they allies or antagonists?
This is the most complicated experience that a human being can have because it's in you, but it's something you're fighting against. Your mind is going, what is this thing? It's me, but it's not me. I'm trying to love every part of me. If it feels like you don't recognize yourself, or you're finding yourself in a moment of deep, devastating grief, let's know about it.
The oncologist said the cancer cells are fast growing, which makes them exquisitely sensitive to chemotherapy. I just can't imagine. To get maximum cell kill and shrink the tumor before surgery, I'm getting a dose-dense cocktail of drugs, including a rather toxic one that patients often refer to as the red devil. Megan, what was that quote you just said again about talking to the cells? I want to have it with me when I go into the belly of the beast.
Do only what is needed, nothing more, nothing less. Absorb only what is needed to bring balance, if you're talking to your cells. If you're talking to the chemo, say, touch only what is ill.
Do only what is needed, nothing more, nothing less. Do only what is needed, nothing more, nothing less.
Absurd. Don't listen to Megan's nonsense chant. I do all the work for you. You do not even have to believe in my potency. I'm not offended. I'm tried and true. Without me, you will die. Megan's methods are no more effective than a placebo.
Of course Red Devil would say that. My efficacy is not a product. It is a process. I am an ambassador, transporting your will to live on the path to physical wellness. The devil will wreak havoc on your body, heart damage, neuropathy, brain fog.
Placebo. Are you suggesting that red devil will do nothing at all? That maybe just my will or a positive attitude will determine the success of my treatment?
My havoc pales in comparison to that of cancer.
You touch only what is ill.
Do only what is needed, nothing more, nothing less.
There is evidence of the placebo effect. When participants in clinical trials heal from their illnesses when given the placebo versus the active control.
I embody patients' expectations and motivations to heal by producing neurotransmitters of well-being in the brain that may manifest positive physical results in the body.
And we exist in mass.
May manifest, and not with cancer. Maybe a headache. Sure, placebo and Megan are misleading you with their claims. And I can only do you harm? Seriously, they do not magically heal you. Your will alone cannot heal you. What of all those who completely refuted me? Used alternative therapies or whatever. Those who still strived for life, but succumbed to disease.
There are hundreds of thousands who completely complied with you, Red Devil, and or your chemical accomplices, and did not survive. And they suffered immensely, needlessly, in the last weeks or months of their lives because of you.
And will placebo, perhaps you accompany all of us who seek to be liberated from illness. Whatever substances we swallow, drink, suck on, imbibe, mix into a concoction or infuse into our veins to heal us. The red devil and a mushroom cocktail may be as equally effective or, depending on circumstances, as impotent as a sugar pill.
Is it good? Is it bad? Is it positive? Is it negative? Healthy or toxic?
And you would likely have little impact if a patient knew they were taking an inert substance.
I aim to please, not to deceive. It's true. Without your participation, your exuberant will to live, Sherry, I am useless.
And Red Devil, I've heard stories.
subjective perception of me, from demonic to divine intervention.
That is precisely our work. The mind is processing information exactly as it's supposed to. The spirit is saying, this doesn't really make sense. So you're left to hold these dichotomies within yourself and try to make meaning.
In any case, I'll keep taking the turkey tail and attending my therapy sessions with Megan.
So your image of the roots growing out of your back, is they're associated with your nerves or all of the energies flowing along your spinal column. Your reference about your hair growing long reminds me of culturally a Native American experience. They speak on the reason that they grow their hair long, you know, as an extension of the brain cells or the neurons, the flow, the universal energy of life force. And the concept that when you feel the wind blowing through your hair, that's like Mother Nature's way of connecting to you.
I will continue to dance as I always have.
As to you, Angel Devil, I hope I never see you again after this.
At your service.
My sister had such a great sense of humor. The years she went through chemo, she still had a few wisps of hair connected. One Halloween, she spray painted her head and the wisps, and she went as Beetlejuice. You never knew this woman was battling cancer until the last 2 months of her life.
I was at a construction meeting for work and waiting in my truck for my sister, who was about to call with the results of her genetic test. I had taken my wig off and it was sitting in the front seat. I was wearing a scarf and this older gentleman was headed into the casino. I had my window down, so he started chatting with me. Oh, what kind is it? Because I have a Shih Tzu. And I thought, oh my gosh, he thought my wig was a dog.
At the first meeting with the oncologist, I told her, no way am I going to have chemo. I've had a good career. I'll accept comfort care, but nothing else. My plan was to find good homes for my cats and get a one-way ticket to Tuscany, find a room in a pensione, and spend the rest of my days eating plenty of kale, meditating, and strolling through the countryside. In the evenings, I would sit on my balcony to watch the sunset over the foothills and sip a glass of Sangiovese. My doctor said, let me tell you tomorrow what the rest of your life is going to be like if you refuse chemo. I'll give you about 6 months. I thought, oh, okay. Maybe I better rethink this.
Shortly after I was diagnosed, we found out my husband had a rare cancer. Around that time, I got the test results, BRCA2 positive. We went into the doctor's. She looked at me and said, you can walk. Looks at my husband and said, you have to run. Because his cancer was even more urgent than mine.
I don't know if you had times like this, Sherry. Times you couldn't sleep. You're bald. I don't want to wake up my husband, so I walk around the house. One night, I saw my silhouette in the mirror, thinking, man, I look like E.T.
It is like becoming a baby again.
I would be lying in bed and put my hand under the covers and just ask the Lord to hold on because I felt so alone. Your loved ones can't understand what you're going through, and why would you want them to?
I just can't touch the tumor site. I don't want to feel that it's not shrinking. Anjali, I want to keep dancing through this, somehow. I don't know how much I'll be able to keep up, but I need the strength to wrangle 2 beasts, cancer and the treatment. Would you teach me a Kali dance, so that I may embody the goddess of transformation?
Just to make it a little stronger, we're going to show you the difference between her and him. So jump, step, tuck, and get really strong. Up, deep, step, tuck, and then this can be a little softer when she turns. And then this one, just bring your arm a little higher. We're going to say, okay. This all that looks good. So then this is the one that
I remember you wanted to learn this dance prior to the diagnosis. When you do this, you can personalize it and find that expression and how it relates to your own experience. The dance starts with a prayer and rises into Kali's fierceness after she's created. The perspective is more from Kali's persona. It embodies that female strength and fierceness, and for you it would be good to channel all of your emotions. I'm sure you're going through so many emotions right now. Days when you are angry, upset, full of fear, a gamut of them.
Mostly fear.
For fear, this is a great dance. This is what I do because I have anxiety in my daily life. time I feel it, I envision Kali, what she means to me and how I feel when I'm dancing this piece and embodying her. It's perfect that you thought about it because it's that type of a dance. I'll show you the original choreography and you can modify it for how you're feeling. We'll just go section by section, week by week, no matter how long it takes.
Hi, Sherry. I got some bad news today. The tumor in my breast has come back. Sorry to tell you this in an email, but I'm still digesting it. We can talk about it later. Plus, I still have a bunch of work to do today. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I knew I was at risk when I stopped that treatment late last summer, but I didn't know about the BRCA at the time. On the bright side, my ovaries are fine.
Hey.
Hi, Chris. I just saw your email. Sorry I had not seen it before I texted you earlier today. Oh my God, I am at a loss for words. Oh, I know you've heard that from way too many people over the years, as I have been recently.
Yeah, I know.
What are you going to do? You said that Midge didn't see any tumor left after that diagnosis 10 months ago.
That's right. It seemed all clear. I've set up an appointment with a place in LA for a consult, and I'm also considering a lumpectomy with intraoperative radiation. It's less damaging and disfiguring than the usual 6 weeks of radiation. But I want to maybe try and shrink the tumor first with the same treatment I did last summer.
But that alternative treatment only marginally worked. Otherwise, you would not have a recurrence so soon. I'm worried about that. I want more than anything than for this next step to be 100% effective for you this time.
Sherry, please stop projecting your worry and fear onto me, or I won't be able to talk to you about the decisions I make. Support does not help me when it's cloaked in fear.
Well, that wasn't exactly my intent. And maybe it's not so much fear as concern. I think there's a difference. I'm equally concerned about my own path through this. And I don't think that suppressing emotions regarding difficult life situations like this is healthy either.
I know you didn't mean it, but you're coming from a place of fear, which is understandable your first time. Concern is just another word for fear.
To me, fear is a part of life. And saying that I'm coming from a place of fear my first time is a little condescending. I intend this to be my only time.
Even with BRCA, cancer is not inevitable. I look at this as a mystery I'm trying to solve. Some people dramatically alter their lifestyle and diet and self-heal.
There are amazing stories of unexplainable remission, no doubt. I'm still getting chemo though. And I made the harrowing decision to have a double mastectomy. Plus, I'm going to get my ovaries and tubes removed, too.
I probably will take the ovaries out too, but I'm not ready for a mastectomy. I would recommend avoiding using words like harrowing to describe the surgery. Own it. It's your decision and what you feel is best for you.
Well, it's one of the ways that I want to try to solve, or rather resolve, this mystery. Anyway, Chris, it is because of you that I feel like I can get through this, alive. I want to be a source of strength for you too, if I can in any way right now.
Thanks. Wow, both of us getting breast cancer treatment at the same time this year.
Visualize Kali in her form as destroyer, slaying the cancer cells. Dance for both you and your sister. When she's riding the tiger, she's Durga, ferocious and empowered. Whatever your spirituality is, it's tested, and you are humbled when presented with a disease that could alter or end your life. Bring all that to the floor.
results back from that PET scan you did recently?
Oh yeah, all clear. No metastasis or lymph node involvement.
Fantastic. I'm so glad to hear this.
Knowing what I know now about BRCA and triple negative, I feel that my going 9 years without a recurrence until last summer is a big victory. I must have been doing something right.
Absolutely.
The more times I go through cancer, though, the less power it has over me. How have you been?
Oh, UTIs. I've had this terrible pain in swallowing. Some nausea. I suppose it could be worse, though. I've been dizzy and extreme fatigue, especially in the first few days after chemo. Super low neutrophils, of course, a bit of neuropathy. The list goes on. How have you been?
I'm getting the port put in on Friday. I'll probably continue to do frequent IVs of vitamin C and some mistletoe, so might leave it in for a while. But every fiber in my body is screaming, no more chemo or radiation.
I just can't imagine doing chemo in my life again. Ever.
If you were willing to do a lot of screening, it might be another option to the mastectomy. I don't want you to look back 3 years from now if a new drug has changed medicine and think, I could have kept my breasts.
To be frank, you're the reason I'm getting the surgery. If cancer can happen to you 2 times, plus this recent recurrence, it's probably the same could happen to me.
Did you read that book I gave you? It's about how DNA and genes don't control our biology. Cells are controlled by signals from outside the cell, including energy from your thoughts.
Well, I read about half of that book, but I stopped. I found it too repetitive, and the research he cited, a bit questionable. I did like what he wrote, though, about visualizations. It inspired me to start doing one. The Hindu god Ganesh digs into my breast with his trunk and extracts the tumor.
Oh, is that the one that looks like an elephant?
Yes. Elephants are so huge that when they move through a forest, they open up the path for smaller creatures, clearing obstacles in the way.
Our stories
are not only about the body,
but of and through
the body. Our stories are not only about the body,
but of and through
the body.
Ho'oponopono. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you.
How do I let go of my breasts? As a woman, as an artist, as a mother, a lover, a mammal, a human. June 25th. It is dusk, Sunday before surgery. Will they get clean margins? I will touch my breasts. Will I really not feel hugs? Like one woman described in a New York Times article about mastectomies and reconstructions gone bad. Will I be cognizant of what happens when I come to? Will they remove lymph nodes? To put right, when will I? To put in order or shape? What if I don't? Correct, revise, adjust, amend, regulate, arrange, or still will I love? Rectify, reinscribe, to establish a new and especially strong. Will there still be cancer?
all night I hear the whispering, the soft love calls you to this knife for love, for love. All night it is the one breast comforting the other.
She felt the marks of pain upon her flesh.
We will learn to live together. I will call you ribbon of hunger and desire, empty pocket flap, edge of before and after, and you, what will you call me?
Once they said to me, "You have cancer." Then it was, "Take them off." After the surgery, all of my margins were clear, the lymph nodes were clear, no need for radiation. I was cancer-free.
I remember the day before my mastectomy, I thought, I should just go lay on the roof deck topless while I can still feel the warmth of the sun. Why didn't I spend more time running around topless?
I'm so grateful I have the protection, having removed my ovaries, but I feel a little like, oh shit, should I do the preventive double mastectomy?
Think of yourself as a number, Celia, a statistic. You're not special. Honestly, I am just at the point where it's like, if I don't need a body part, just take it out.
Do only what is needed, nothing more, nothing less.
It's all on my dad's side. 4 generations there. I got tested and my mutation was in the exact same spot as my second cousin's. I went to get a breast MRI, all clear, so I put off the mastectomies for a while. After the surgery, the labs came back negative for cancer. I felt wonderful. I beat it before I was 70. 11 months later, got out of the shower, was drying myself off. As I was putting the towel underneath my armpits, my hand hit the lump, and I thought, oh, what's this?
Oh shit, Annie. Was it cancer?
Yes.
Seriously? I didn't think it could come back after surgery.
We are all with you.
You are
strong.
I'm so sorry.
I hope you have the support
You can do this, Annie.
I
You
don't
are
live too
strong.
far away.
You'll
If
be
you
in my
need
thoughts
help.
and prayers.
Yes, we are
I
there
also
for you.
assume preventive surgery. would
I'm
take
sending
care
you
of
It
that.
could happen to any of us. You're not alone.
We just don't know what the outcome will be.
I'm just lying in bed, feeling sorry for myself. I was trying to avoid getting chemo for the 3rd time in my life. I hate this.
I know, Chris. Maybe try to surrender to this direction rather than feel regrets at this point, right?
Seems to me you might say the same thing to me if I told you what you just told me. Probably. How are you doing today?
It's
I'm okay.
wrong, of course.
Are you
When's
still
your
in
next
much pain?
You know, my
Almost dead.
surgery is coming up. The
Going to do
pre-op is next
IVC
Friday.
inoculation too.
They think that the
Your
tumor
next
has
surgery
shrunk.
probably won't be as difficult.
When's your
I don't think.
hysterectomy? My
Are you
last
feeling
one
a
was
little
on May
better?
6th. Are you
Sort
doing
of,
all
I
right?
think so.
I've been trying to
I
do
found the
some walks
surgeon
in the
who did
woods,
the cryo.
and that pain and swallowing
And I
is
haven't
gone
lost
now.
any hair yet.
Small,
But still a milestone.
The surgery room is much smaller and colder than I expected. The tech asked, "Are you ready for the goodies?" The sedatives began to take effect, but I managed to turn my head. A few feet away, very sharp instruments are poised on a 2-tiered shelf, all precisely organized, seemingly by type, shining, lined up, and waiting for their cue. Soon to be animate characters in the surgical theater. It didn't make me feel afraid. Instead, I thought, oh good, they look clean.
Sí, claro, eso es lo que estoy diciendo. Que es, no es picante,
At least the beginning of it. I think it worked. There were moments where you think stuff that was more interesting. I just want to see what it looks like when you're kind of.
Lymph nodes negative, everything cancer-wise also looks like it's mostly all looks like nothing really left. We'll get final answer in like a week or so. Any questions?
That's all we want to know.
He's working right now. Overall surgery went very well. Just one of the areas, the skin was slightly thin in the breast area where we're doing surgery, but overall that looks good too. And no real issues, anything.
I mean, where the tumor was against the chest wall.
Also and up in the outer area. Her fat is so thin from the breast area, so that's part of my surgery to make sure that we can get good blood flow. But then I want to make sure we give her all the breast tissue because that's possibly the cancer. So that's why just one of the areas.
I'll kind of explain a few things, what you're basically looking at. Yeah, I mean, everything looks good. Everything's healing as we want it to heal right now.
And the tissue expanders are definitely wobbly.
Yes, yeah. So it's not going to be smooth just yet.
Yeah.
So even if you push down, you can actually feel the tissue.
Also story.
Is there a story to tell? Is a big story to tell? Chrysalis. What you said. That was nice. I'm going to be reborn for the next second half of my life.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
We are voices, the voices of our bodies telling stories, speaking rather than be spoken for.
Once I shared my story, people shared theirs with me. I was really shocked at how many people that I knew had been dealing with cancer, but they kept it quiet. I did some research and tried to make it a little less about me and getting everybody more aware about the prevalence of breast cancer in the Jewish community.
Our stories are revealed.
In the wake of illness.
From the trail of trauma.
We reflect. Bodies speak.
Our stories are
A man came over to me and said, "Thank you so much for mentioning that men get breast cancer." He shared that he is BRCA2 and goes for mammograms every year. Nobody ever talked about that. He's someone I've known since I joined the synagogue many years ago.
Matthew Knowles, Beyonce's father, was also BRCA2 positive. He publicly talks about what he called his chest cancer in surgery and advocates for genetic testing in the Black community and chest cancer awareness among men.
We enter our stories together, one or the other.
We still have a body.
We still have a sister. We still have each other.
To tell something to.
Learning I had BRCA opened a whole new world. I found a voice as an activist and a writer. In my research, I learned there are significant racial disparities in terms of who gets recommended for testing and who has access to it. I advocate for having conversations with family about family history.
Bodies are the voices, unfolding, part of the story,
spoken for.
reclaimed.
Carry.
I was taught that Jews don't get tattoos. People in the Holocaust had tattoos that they did not choose to have. But after what my sister and I went through, we created a tattoo. We found a Celtic symbol for strength and incorporated a DNA strand and a semicolon because cancer can put a period at the end of your life. Instead, we took a little pause. We have the exact same tattoo in the same place on our bodies.
The strands of our stories, Sherry and I, embarked upon separately, then converging, different, and yet a lot alike. In the wake of illness, from the trail of trauma,
I dreamed that I was running, sprinting down the street like I did before I got hobbled by a brain tumor a few years ago. I took that dream as a sign that I can do this again.
I now focus on oncology nutrition. New paths in my life have emerged from this experience, with knowledge about conventional and complementary medicine evolving tremendously over the years.
And what does your body speak now, Sherry?
I look at the big picture and the miraculousness of everything differently. I am more aware. I have a new curiosity about space, galaxies, what's way out there, or the little microscopic things. I look at books with millions of different types of insects.
I've been spending hours at the nursery and installing plants in my yard.
I do volunteer work in prisons, helping people that need help that don't know where to get it.
We are speaking,
one with the other.
I, the listener, you, the teller.
I, the teller, you, the listener.
I, the teller, you, the listener.
And what about the stories of those no longer here to tell?
We are listening.
Sons
My
and
uncle.
daughters.
Dear friends,
My second cousins
A couple of
on my
women
mother's
on my
side.
block.
My best friend.
My sister,
A
my
close
grandmother,
coworker of mine.
My
and all
brother's
her
wife
sisters.
and her closest friend.
Are you listening?
Our stories are as much for you as they are for us. Oh, Taryn, she's beautiful. Congratulations to you and Joanna.
Gracias. Felicitaciones a ti también, nueva abuela.
Gracias. Oh, a daughter, after all.
Sí.
Many years will pass before we can test to know if Lyra Rose carries the BRCA mutation. What advances in science and health may transpire in that time?